Assalamu alaikum, my beloved brothers and sisters. Many of us have prayed for the right person to enter our lives. We ask Allah for a spouse who will bring us happiness, peace, and companionship. But what happens when someone comes into our life and everything seems perfect on the surface, yet deep inside things don't feel right? What happens when warning signs begin to appear, when doors unexpectedly close, or when circumstances repeatedly stand in the way? Sometimes we become so attached to a person that we stop seeing what is obvious. We focus on what we want and ignore what Allah may be showing us. We convince ourselves that our feelings are enough, that love alone can overcome every challenge. Yet Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, sees what we cannot see. He knows the future we do not know. He knows the pain that may lie ahead, the struggles hidden behind smiles, and the consequences concealed behind promises. There are moments when a delay is not a punishment. A rejection is not a loss. A closed door is not a failure. It may actually be one of the greatest blessings Allah has placed in your path. The difficulty is that we often understand this only much later. Today, let us reflect on the powerful ways Allah warns and protects us before marriage, so that we can recognize His guidance, trust His wisdom, and make decisions that bring us closer to peace in this life and success in the next. One of the greatest signs that Allah may be warning you about a person before marriage is when you continuously overlook matters that should concern you simply because your emotions have become too strong. Human beings naturally become attached. When we like someone, we often focus on their strengths and ignore their weaknesses. We begin to justify behavior that we would normally consider unacceptable. We tell ourselves that things will improve after marriage, that certain habits will disappear, or that love will somehow solve every problem. But marriage is not built upon assumptions. It is built upon reality. Many people enter a relationship with a sincere intention, hoping for a blessed future. However, as time passes, clear signs begin to appear. Perhaps the person struggles with honesty. Perhaps they repeatedly break promises. Perhaps they show disrespect toward their parents, family members, or other people around them. Maybe they become angry very quickly, refuse to accept responsibility for their mistakes, or display behavior that raises serious concerns. Instead of taking these signs seriously, a person who is emotionally attached may choose to ignore them. They may tell themselves that nobody is perfect, which is true, but there is a difference between ordinary human flaws and warning signs that point toward deeper problems. Allah has blessed us with intellect for a reason. He has not asked us to make life-changing decisions based only on feelings. Feelings can change, attraction can change, emotions can rise and fall. Good character, sincerity, honesty, and faith are the qualities that help a marriage survive difficult times. When these qualities are missing, problems often become much larger after marriage than they appeared before it. What seems small during the proposal stage can become a major source of pain later on. Sometimes Allah allows us to witness certain behaviors before marriage so that we can make an informed decision. A person may reveal their true nature through the way they treat others. They may show arrogance, selfishness, dishonesty, or a lack of concern for religious obligations. These moments are not always random. They can be opportunities for reflection. They can be signs that Allah is showing us something important before we commit ourselves to a lifelong relationship. Many people later look back and say, "The signs were there from the beginning, but I chose not to see them." They remember moments when family members expressed concern. They remember incidents that made them uncomfortable. They remember situations that caused them to question whether the relationship was right. Yet, because they were emotionally invested, they ignored those feelings and continued forward. Later, they realized that those concerns were not obstacles standing in their way. They were warnings meant to protect them. This is why it is so important to seek guidance from Allah through sincere dua, and to listen to trusted people who genuinely care about your well-being. Sometimes those around us can see things more clearly because they are not influenced by the same emotions. Their advice may not always be easy to hear, But wisdom often comes through those who want the best for us. If multiple trustworthy people notice the same concerns, it is worth taking those concerns seriously rather than dismissing them immediately. A believer understands that Allah's guidance does not always come in dramatic ways. Sometimes it comes through repeated observations. Sometimes it comes through a sense of discomfort that refuses to disappear. Sometimes it comes through conversations, circumstances, or experiences that reveal a person's true character. The challenge is having the honesty to acknowledge what we see, rather than pretending it does not exist. When we ignore obvious warning signs, we are not demonstrating trust in Allah. True trust in Allah includes using the wisdom, judgment, and understanding that He has given us. The reality is that choosing a spouse is one of the most important decisions a person will ever make. It affects not only your happiness, but also your faith, your future family, and your peace of mind. For that reason, when warning signs continue to appear, it is wise to pause and reflect rather than rush forward. A temporary disappointment today may save you from years of hardship tomorrow. What feels like a difficult realization now may actually be one of the greatest acts of mercy Allah has placed in your life. Another powerful way Allah may be warning you about a person before marriage is through repeated obstacles and closed doors that continue to appear despite every effort being made in a lawful and sincere manner. This is something many people struggle to understand, because when we desire something deeply, we naturally want everything to work out. We make plans, we imagine the future, and we become emotionally attached to a particular outcome. When things begin to fall apart, our first reaction is often frustration, sadness, or confusion. We ask ourselves why something that seemed so promising is suddenly becoming so difficult. There is a difference between ordinary challenges and a situation where one obstacle after another continues to emerge in a way that forces you to stop and reflect. Sometimes families cannot reach an agreement despite numerous attempts. Sometimes important facts come to light at the last moment. Sometimes communication repeatedly breaks down. Sometimes trust becomes difficult to establish. At other times, circumstances change so unexpectedly that the entire proposal begins to unravel. While not every obstacle means a marriage should end, there are moments when these repeated difficulties become a reason to pause and seek Allah's guidance more deeply. One of the most difficult lessons in life is accepting that not everything we want is good for us. Human beings see the present moment, but Allah sees the entire journey. We see what makes us happy today, but Allah sees what may happen years from now. We are often attracted to appearances, personalities, or emotions, while Allah knows the reality hidden within hearts. Because of this, there are times when Allah protects us by preventing something from happening, even when we are convinced it is exactly what we need. Think about how many people have looked back on their lives and realized that a closed door was actually a blessing. At the time, they cried over it. They lost sleep over it. They questioned why things were not working out. Some even felt that their hopes had been shattered. Yet years later, after gaining more experience and understanding, they recognized that Allah had saved them from a path that would have brought them pain, regret, or hardship. What once felt like a loss became one of the greatest gifts they had ever received. The challenge is that we rarely understand Allah's wisdom immediately. We live in a world where people want instant answers and immediate results. We want clarity today. We want to know why things are happening right now. Yet Allah often teaches us patience by allowing understanding to arrive later. This requires trust. It requires believing that the one who created us knows what is best for us, even when we cannot see it ourselves. There are times when a person becomes so focused on making a relationship work that they begin to ignore the reality unfolding before them. Every obstacle is viewed as something that must simply be pushed aside. Every concern is dismissed. Every warning is explained away. Instead of stepping back and asking whether Allah may be directing them elsewhere, they become determined to force a particular outcome. But what Allah has not written for us can never be obtained through force. And what Allah has written for us can never be taken away by anyone. This understanding brings a special kind of peace. It reminds us that our future is not dependent on convincing someone to stay, forcing circumstances to align, or desperately holding on to a relationship that is slipping away. Our future is in the hands of Allah. The spouse meant for us will not require us to abandon our values, compromise our faith, or ignore constant warning signs. What Allah has prepared for us will come through His permission, at the right time and in the right way. Sometimes a person fears that if a proposal ends or a relationship does not progress toward marriage, they will never find happiness again. This fear can become overwhelming. Shaitan often uses these thoughts to make people cling to situations that are unhealthy or unsuitable. He whispers that this is your only chance, that nobody better will come along, that you will regret walking away. But Allah's mercy is far greater than our fears. The one who provided for you yesterday is fully capable of providing something better tomorrow. A believer should never lose hope, because hope is one of the greatest gifts Allah places in the heart. Even when one door closes, countless others remain under His control. Even when a proposal fails, Allah's plan for your life continues. Even when your heart feels disappointed, Allah can replace that disappointment with something far more beautiful than you imagined. There are people who spent years grieving over relationships that never led to marriage, only to later meet someone whose character, faith, and compatibility brought them a level of peace they never thought possible. That is why trust in Allah is not passive, it is active. It means making sincere efforts, seeking advice, praying for guidance, and then accepting whatever outcome Allah decrees. If something is repeatedly moving away despite your best lawful efforts, it may be an invitation to place your trust more fully in Allah. It may be a reminder that your happiness is not tied to one individual. It may be Allah gently redirecting you toward a future that you cannot yet see, but one that contains blessings beyond your current understanding. The beautiful thing about Allah's guidance is that it is always rooted in mercy. Even when His guidance comes through disappointment, delay, or closed doors, His intention for His servant is never cruelty. He knows the tears you shed in private. He knows the dreams you carried in your heart. He knows the future you hoped for. Yet He also knows every danger you cannot see, every hardship hidden from your view, and every blessing waiting beyond the horizon. Sometimes His protection appears in the form of unanswered hopes, postponed plans, and relationships that never reach the destination we imagined. The believer continues moving forward with faith, because they know that the one who closed the door is also the one who can open a better one at the perfect time.